Okay, recommend taking wet tyres in the current conditions. The rain's getting lighter now, but it's going to take a while for the track to dry out. The track's pretty quiet at the moment. Perhaps we should get out there, get a few laps in. With conditions as they are, I'd suggest you take a set of full wets. Track is wet right now. Feel your way around the conditions before you start pushing the car. we've dropped to P15. Full wet seemed like the best tyre for now. Okay, so this light rain is going to be with us for a while now. We've only got 2 laps of fuel left. Okay, we've been pushed down to P12. So this rain could be with us for a while. Light rain conditions for the foreseeable future. Okay, full wet seems to be the fastest tyre for now. I'd take a set of intermediates in these unpredictable conditions. Okay, engines fired up, we're set. And we've dropped to P12. We've been pushed down into P14. Intermediate tyres are your best bet in the current conditions. Take it easy to start with, the track's very wet. Okay, you're doing well out there, keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain, 10 minutes. Inters seem to be the fastest tyre for now. Minutes left of this rain, then we think it's going to dry up. 10 minutes. Inters look like the best tyre for now. dropped to P11. There's a Haas ahead of you now. Okay, so their best lap so far, 1:37.8. It looks like the weather's going to dry up in about 5 minutes' time. Inters seem to be the fastest tyre for now. So we're looking at another 5, maybe 10 minutes of this rain. Inters look like the best tyre for now. Okay, just 2 laps of fuel remaining now. Okay, I think the track's going to be drying out quite soon. Be careful you don't burn out your tyres. Okay, I'm afraid you dropped to P4 with that. All clear the garage, please. Car's ready to leave. 1 lap of fuel left now. The tank's pretty much empty. Some quick lap times now being posted. It's getting faster out there. Right, the car's ready. Let's get it out there. Right, so far our best lap 1 minute 27.4. might see some rain. ETA about 15 minutes. Okay, dries seem like the best tyre for now. DRS now enabled. DRS enabled. Watch out for understeer in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as quickly as you can. Push, push. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes. Keep on him, he might make a mistake. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. So we're expecting rain in about 10 to 15 minutes. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment. Gap to your teammate behind, 13.0 seconds. If you think you can get past, make use of the overtake button and see what you can do. Good job, nice overtake. rain's a few lap outs yet, but it is coming, so be careful. Okay, be aware, the grip levels are going to start falling away soon. approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums. The rain's going to keep getting heavier for the next 15 minutes at least. And we're still happy that we're on the right tyres at the moment. Okay, we're boxing this lap, give us the best in lap you can. VSC deployed, the virtual safety car has been deployed. We need to keep a positive delta here. Slow down and maintain a positive delta. Right, drop your speed, our delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately. Okay, the forecast suggests this rain's going to keep getting stronger for at least the next 15 minutes. Okay, dries seem like the best tyre for now. Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until we get the green flags. VSC ending, wait for the greens. Green flag. Pitting this lap then, come into the pits at the end of this lap. Weather's changing now, you might want to review our strategy. Copy that. Wow, come on. Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. DRS has been disabled by the stewards. DRS will be offline. Wait for further updates. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. use your overtake button more. It's time to utilise some of this energy. Come on. These conditions are only getting worse. Watch out for standing water. Okay, I know these conditions look pretty terrible, but that water is draining okay. I think the intermediate is going to stay the tyre of choice for a while yet. Okay, clear. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 32.3 seconds. Okay, mate, this is the final lap of the race. Final lap. Forecasts suggest the rain's going to be lightening up over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. You should start finding more grip as we clear the standing water.
Feel free to talk amongst yourselves, but the Netflix cameras are in here, though, just so you know.
Oh, it's the cool down room.
Oh, sorry, what?
It's just a cool down room. You guys are just standing there, like, watching highlights of the race on a screen while I take a leak. Okay. You could throw the P2 hat at Ferrari Pro or something, you know? Do something dramatic.
Oh, B-Tom impeded Goatley and Quali. He's DSQ'd, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, not my greatest moment there.
Oh, fuck, he's here. Oh, fuck. Okay,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask him about that, but we'll ask him about that after. We got to get to the hard-hitting, important questions before I go there. So first off, P-Tom, why did you impede Goatley on practice?
Oh man.
I noticed that. Were you just like out to lunch, or were you just giving him a receipt for an earlier incident?
I thought everybody was on their out lap because I went out super early. Because I thought I had enough time to get in 3 runs, but clearly I didn't. So, yeah, I just made an assumption
okay,
and I was wrong. So
It's all right, bro. You know, it might be like a 3-race ban, but
Just 10 seconds, Bone. That'll be good. 10 seconds.
we'll see. Honestly, you guys don't let me near the racing stuff, so we'll see. I don't even know if Goalie knows how to report. So, and it wouldn't take away his win anyways. But wouldn't it be like a quality?
Quality stuff should always be separated.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, though, before we get into all that, I am going to start right here. I would love, guys. We all know I might be a little biased here, but you guys know who I'm cheering for and what team I'm cheering for in this race. I love everyone here, but Greg and Chenzo are my guys. And again, to see the performance today, before we get to Greg, I just want to talk to Chenzo here. Chenzo, you want to talk about the huge difference maker in this race, in my opinion, and that was Greg making that 1-lap undercut. He overtook 3 people, and I think you fell 3 positions.
Yes, so what happened was the VSC came right as I was about to pass the pit lane. I maybe could have tried to get in the pits, but it would have been such a quick turn,
Fair.
I think I probably would have crashed or something. So right away I told Greg that he should pit, and I was gonna stay out just see what I could do. But yeah, in the end, that was the best thing to do for Greg.
It wasn't a case of Greg accidentally giving you the less ideal strategy again?
No, absolutely not. No, last week was on me. But yeah, no, it was just a matter of I was about to pass the pit entry, and it was just better for Greg to do it.
Well, look, bro, again, I know you're not the kind of guy who's your goal's never to be P7, no matter where you race. But I think today, considering it was a good race, not just for you, but when you think about what the team did, again, I know you guys were saying, I think top 8 was our goal for both cars.
10.
My goal was
10.
8. You guys say 10, but my goal for you guys is 8. And I think, you guys, Chenzo, I know P7 is not your best race ever, but I think considering how the race went in this league, second race full time, a good showing, I think, no?
Absolutely, yeah, and I was actually P9, so I managed to make up 2 spots. So yeah.
100%, bro. And when you and Greg get next to each other as teammates, bro, you are just impossible to.
Yeah, man. I think if the rain hadn't been a factor, maybe we could have, fought for, or I mean, Greg would have been in the same spot. I probably would have been right next to him. But enough. It is what it is. Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes.
Well, Chenzo, bro, I want to thank you again for doing Lightning Cup. Obviously, you've been in Mushroom Cup 4 years, our winningest driver, most championships. You and Greg are the reason I exist. So thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Of course, Chenzo. See you next week. Next up, we are going. Well, BXT's in here. He wasn't in the race, but BXT, just say hi.
Hi. I was watching the race.
I was
the one that was telling Emerge what to do every lap.
All right. We'll talk to you in a second, BXT. I have to interview the drivers, but hello. Thank you for being here. Love you. Okay, we're going to P3 we can't go to, so we're going to go right to P4, folks. And I get ripped on. I say I overrate Greg. People say I overrate Greg Jennings. All I said was he's the best driver in the world.
Oh god.
You guys need to chill. He doesn't like when I do this either. I get texts like, yo, stop saying all that shit, dude. It makes me But Greg, man, regardless of what you think skill-wise, we'll call it a keep it a buck. Maybe you're not the fastest guy here, but when it comes to that race management, strategy, IQ, and race pace, you're as good as anybody I know. And again, today it showed itself today with that pit stop. You're so good at just like analyzing the weather conditions, tires. Want to talk about the race today, buddy? P4.
Yeah, for sure. So as you asked Chenzo, the VSC was kind of the turning point there. Chenzo was right ahead of me. I think we were 6th and 7th or something around that at the time. And it came out, and as Chenzo said, I think there was an opportunity for him to pull to the right, but it would have been very chaotic, might have risked his car, and maybe I would have following him in. It would have been a chaotic situation. So I think like in the team in that moment, like Chenzo like said no, go for it, and that gave me the confidence to dive in there. And it was really lucky because I didn't want to be behind him, of course. I wanted to be ahead, but then I ended up behind him, and then it ended up working out in my favor. So that's definitely a great degree of luck. But I will say overall the wet pace especially was really, really good. I know the top two were battling, but I was reeling them in slowly. And if only Kaname had just been a little bit further away, who knows, maybe P3 was possible.
Bro,
but either way, we told you at the start of the day, Bo, and we were happy with 10th or 8th and above. And I think as a team we can come away very happy with this one. Obviously some luck came into it, but we're up there, and we're only getting better, and looking forward to next week already, man.
You know what? It's racing too, bro. Like anyone who wins any race, they've had a little bit of luck at least. You know, you have to. It's just part of winning, and you put yourself in those positions. And I just want to get a word on, man, you did a great job keeping Goatley at bay at the start of the race. He was on those medium tires.
Yeah.
Was it a more of a case of it being very difficult to overtake here? That's what I was seeing today. And he never really had a realistic chance of passing you. You want to just elaborate on that?
He had one great opportunity heading up to Spoon. He was on the left side, which is the inside. He was keeping me under a lot of pressure, and I think Chenzo's teamwork and kind of giving me the slipstream was what made the difference, because had Chenzo not been there, I think he would have got me a lot easier. And you're right, it was really hard to pass. You would just get close to someone, and then the S's would come, and you would lose all your progress. So it was just vital just to, you know, put that little extra bit of your elbow out, just to make sure that you get that defense completed, and ended up working out, because he was a massive threat at the start.
Absolutely.
All over me.
Always, yeah. Shout out to Goalie too, though, for not doing anything crazy. And Greg, overall, bro, this ties your best career finish in the Mushroom Cup, I believe, a P4.
Yes,
which
sir.
is just a crazy result, bro. It's a fucking crazy result. And when I was trying to get you in this league, I'd make comments like, oh, you just want to be a big fish in a small pond, eh? And I can't say that shit anymore, dude. So you're a shark in the ocean, so well done.
I'm loving the competition. Thank you to all the Lightning Cup drivers. I'm relatively new to the grid still, but I'm really enjoying it. It's looking like a great league to be a part of, and we're looking forward to Monza, I think it is, next Sunday.
Beautiful, Greg. Thank you so much. Nothing but love, my friend.
Thank you, guys.
Greg Jennings, right there. Okay, next up, I want to give a shout out to P3. TV Konami not here, but we are going to go to the legend from the down under, Ferrari Pro. Are you with us, or have you fallen asleep, my friend?
Oh, I've nearly fallen asleep, but
Nearly falling asleep. So just to let everyone know here, Ferrari Pro, these races, are they 4 a.m. on Monday for you, I believe?
Yeah, it's 6 a.m. now, and the race started at 4 a.m.
And he's doing this weekly, folks. Not to mention last night he had PRL, then he stayed up to watch the F1 race. He has not slept. And I just, first of all, I want to thank you. We all thank you. But, man, today, I know it was a P2, but today was one of the most impressive races I've seen from you, bro, in the sense that we got to see you race in both conditions. You hung with B-Tom. You had some opportunities to potentially beat him. And, bro, I thought you were amazing today. I thought you were amazing last night, too, at Miami. And there was other issues. But you want to talk about lately how, even at your level, it seems like you found a little something in the last couple of weeks.
I don't know. I think just trying out a bit more of the setups and all that. Like just watching a lot more videos and like what metas there are to F125 setups, and just also trying them out more than I used to when I get the time. So I think just trying different setups and then seeing which one works the best or what parts of that setup work the best with me. I don't know. So I think I'm adapting like the setups better than me. But no, I think just putting in some laps and then obviously enjoying it. Like F125 so far, apart from the glitches, it's been pretty good. So no, I think I don't know, just putting in the laps, putting a little bit of the grind in, and having fun about it also.
Yeah, and your first Lightning Cup race, it was a rain race in Canada, and your first comment to me kind of was like, I can't believe how fast everyone was in the wet, kind of thing. And I'm not going to lie, that race, you were off pace in the wet. And now to see your pace today in the wet, how do you like racing in the rain? Has that always been a thing? Or have you improved on that as well lately, I think?
I'd never say I've always been the quickest in the wet, which I'll happily accept. Like, it's one hell of a skill, but...
You haven't, but today you look like one of them.
Yeah, I do enjoy racing in the rain though, because it is good fun. You can slide around, and it's really satisfying and very fun to control the car. So yeah, whenever there's like a wet race, like you just get excited because anything can happen. But I think in terms of pace, like it's usually up and down. But yeah, I think honestly today I don't want to play like the car excuse, but I think I just ran too low wings or whatever in the dry. So I don't know, it could have just been me also, and especially when I was following in the dirty air of VTOM. So
Of course.
no, it's good. It's good fun in the wet. I like it.
Absolutely, and I don't even think the car thing's not an excuse, bro. All you guys are super good, and sometimes it might come down to having your setup a little better than the other guys, so it's a real reason too, man.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to have you in the league, bro. So thank you.
No, that's all right. I'm just just trying to get everything through my brain right now. I don't think I've pulled an all-nighter like this in years, so yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, well, next time you need to, just call HMP Hooligans. He'll help you.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
No, shut up, bro. Go take a nap or something, dude. We all love you over here, man, and great racing lately, dude. Fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the commentary. Also, I'll have a replay or I'll watch a replay of the race when I get some Z's.
Yeah, I think it'll help you because I was just giving some of my breakdowns too and my tips on there too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, thank you, Ferrari, bro.
All right, thank you, mate. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we're gonna go to B Tom here. Race, taking both of our races so far this season. BXT, you want to ask him the first question? You're in here. Let's put you to work. Any questions for B
How
Tom?
did you feel driving in the rain? Because I saw a lot of people struggling, went early for the undercut with that VSC, but it was very, very sketchy the first laps. I saw just emerged, for example, on just a lap and a half he was already destroyed, the Inters, overheating them.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, honestly. I just had a lot of understeer. So probably up until like the last 3 or 4 laps, I was just trying to save my tires because the track was still relatively dry, even though it was enter conditions. So that and the fact that I had more wing than Ferrari Pro was going to be slow in the straights. Like I couldn't afford to push and then make a mistake and go wide, because if he got by, then I wouldn't have been able to get by him again. So yeah, just saving my tires and then making sure I got a good exit onto the long straights every single lap. But it wasn't really particularly tricky, just hard to rotate the car. You can use the rear tires to do it by sliding the car around a bit, but obviously if you do that, chances are you'll overheat the rears early on, so I just decided not to do that.
B-Tom.
Yep.
B-Tom, it's T-Bone. Okay, first off, bro, great race again, man. I think, you're cool with any conditions, but with you normally it's like the harder the conditions, more into it you are. So first of all, like in the rain, obviously, sometimes people forget to mention you when they're talking about all the rain guys because it's just assumed. But yeah, you did your thing today. What I kind of want to know, the importance of qualifying in this league at this circuit. I believe you started P3, and moving up those 2 spots is not easy in this circuit, in these conditions. You want to just talk about how maybe you've put a little more of an emphasis on qualifying lately?
Yeah. With this game, the dirty air is quite a bit stronger, so track position is actually pretty important. On the previous game, you could pretty much sit behind nose to tail, and you'd be fine. And then also the engine overheats a lot on this game when you're in dirty air for an extended period of time, so that's another thing that makes overtaking harder. So naturally, as a consequence of that, it's more worth your time to put more effort into qualifying. So that's what I've done recently. I kind of got it wrong today because I went out way too early for my last run, and the track was still improving a lot. So that was a little annoying, but I had a good start for once in my life on this game. Got by Mac T, and I think that was crucial because he didn't quite have the pace of Ferrari Pro and I. So had I been stuck behind him, I think Ferrari Pro might have had a pretty easy time winning this race. But yeah, I've just been trying to work on quali, making sure I'm executing it well, and then just practicing it so I can be towards the front more often than not. So yeah.
Of course, bro. And again, I tell people all the time, listen, skill and the pace is all good and all, but one thing with you, I've known you for like 5 years. You've come a long way in just keeping your composure. You know, back you were never like crazy or whatever, but you know, you would have your moments where you'd freak out, cuss someone out, and like, man, you have just you're so zen. Like in the last year or so, you want to talk about how you kind of just keep your cool. And I'm not gonna lie, bro. The last week, you've kind of been on a cold streak for you. And when I say that, it just you haven't been winning every race, you know.
Yeah.
You want to talk about how you just keep your composure, and does any kind of like frustration come up knowing you haven't won a race in a couple races, or you stay race to race?
Obviously it's frustrating at the time when you don't win, especially if you feel like you had the pace to do so, and you were just unlucky or made a mistake of some sort. But I tend to just try and figure out what I got wrong if I did get something wrong, and then just address it for next time. So yeah, there are times like when you get frustrated during a race and that sort of thing. Like last week in Australia, I forget who it was, but like I was trying to overtake him because he had no battery and he was on the oldest tires of anyone on the track, and I was on fresh tires, and he just like turned in like I didn't exist, nearly wiped me out. So I was frustrated for like maybe 20-30 seconds, and then I was like, all right, I need to lock in because
again, like he doesn't have to like move over and shit, but if he's turning in on you, that's a problem.
Yeah,
you know? So
exactly.
100%, man. But yeah, you're very stoic when you race, man, and I think that's actually a huge part of your success. Like even when I watch your streams, like you're not even breathing. It's like, you know, so you've come a long way, bro, and I really think it's an asset to your overall skill.
Thank you.
Of course, man. BXT, any final comments here?
I need to train his teammate even more in quali, because what he did today in quali was outrageous.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely incredible overall. We're grateful for this Lightning Cup, watching this shit. Next week we do have Monza, I believe. I want to give a shout out to B-Tom. I want to give a huge shout out to BXT, man. This guy's a fucking legend over here, BXT. I know me and him fight all the time, but it's all love. So in front of everyone, I want to say BXT's a man. You guys need to know that.
Thank you.
Congrats to everybody, man. Congrats to everyone who raced. It was a pleasure to watch. B-Tom, any final comments from you?
Good racing. Seemed like there were no major incidents as far as I could tell. No safety cars,
good.
unlike the week before.
Oh God.
So, and this race was a lot trickier. So, fair play to everyone racing. I think the next round is Monza, so that'll probably be chaotic.
0-0 wings.
yeah, I think everybody will probably do something like that.
Well, look, guys, you know, safety cars happen. Australia, first race of the season. Australia's already, you're going to get a propensity for safety cars. Today, we didn't have any, so yeah, it's going to be race to race. But Monza, you think we'll get one reduced?
We might. I mean, it's hard to follow in Sector 2, but you gain pretty much all of it back with DRS in Sector 1.
Either way, with all these drivers, bro, it's like it's hard to see two guys crashing that bad, but things happen, man.
Yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
it'll be fun either way. So I'm looking forward
Absolutely. And today, last, thank you everybody today. We'll see you next week. Shout out B-Tom, BXT, and everybody.
Mhm.
to it. All right, that's gonna be it. Got some stuff to do, so I'm gonna hop off. And yeah, like we said in the interview, Monza next week. So, yep.